First episode of the Icebox Builds. I've already built it. Hello, welcome to the first episode of the Icebox Builds. Actually, this episode is sort of doubling as a review of this magnificent bike here. Now, before we get into the video, I just want to make perfectly clear, I'm not like a professional bikeist, I've ridden bikes my whole life, but I don't know about all the hardware side of things. And honestly, when I go on to places like OfferUp, Facebook Marketplace, I see the prices that they want for those bikes. It's insane. It's ridiculous. I can't justify spending $5,000 on a bike. They're simple machines. It doesn't make sense to me. So I went on Amazon and I found the cheapest fat tire off-road mountain bike I could find. Now, obviously, $200 plus shipping, and you get this whole thing. As far as I'm concerned, that's a pretty good deal. There are higher quality bikes for the same price if I bought used, but they're not the style bike that I wanted. I wanted a fat bike with a crazy good suspension, disc brakes, whole 9 yards. And when you're looking at the used market, you don't find it for anywhere near the price that this went for. That being said, the build process was easy. The delivery was very quick, actually. It got here 5 days earlier than when they said it was going to get here. My wife and I went on a 5-mile mountain bike trail with her bike. It's a used bike that I got that I sort of converted to a mountain bike, but it's not really a mountain bike. It was a street bike that I put mountain bike tires. We put a suspension seat on it to try to soak up some of the rough terrain. This bike has the softest front suspension I have ever felt on a bike and no rear suspension, which it's not a full suspension bike. There's one available that's pretty cheap, but I didn't want to go over $200. Which I know is asking quite a lot for a bike. After riding it for about 5 miles, we've noticed some issues.
What was that? That's not good.
I think this is an absolutely fantastic shell to start off with. If you're looking for a one and done, you go online, you buy the bike, they deliver it, and you ride it. And that's it. You don't have to do anything else. I do not recommend this bike. This bike is pretty much ready to ride out of the box. You have to put the tires on and the handlebars and all that fun stuff. But after riding it for, again, only 5 miles, the front bike cassette or sprocket or whatever you call it is pretty much trashed after the first ride. Second gear works, and that's about it. Third gear, the chain just falls off immediately. The chain guard broke off after the first 500 feet. First gear works sometimes. However, I cannot get it to shift into first gear. I have to actually take the chain off, set it on the first gear, and that's it. The rear cassette works just fine. It shifts between all the gears. It's actually pretty smooth when it shifts. It makes a lot of awful clicking noises that I haven't been able to figure out where these clicking noises are coming from. You'll be able to hear it in the video. It's louder on the video because the camera's mounted directly to the bike, so it's definitely louder on the video than it is when you're actually riding it. I have wanted disc brakes on a bike for so long that I finally have a bike that has the disc brakes. Every bike I have ever owned has had those pinchy brakes that I don't even know what they're called. They just pinch onto the rim, and they're garbage. As far as I'm concerned, they're total garbage. I hate them. Is there a mosquito? I think I just got bit by a mosquito. Where? I just got bit by a goddamn mosquito. I have to replace this front sprocket. It's so cheap that the teeth are just basically broken off of it already. The chain is, I mean, I didn't really have any problems with the chain, but I don't think it's gonna last long. It just seems to be pretty chintzy. The disc brakes are fine. The brake pads, I don't know how long the pads are gonna last, but the discs seem completely fine. I mean, they still have, after the 5-mile ride, they still have the machining marks on them. Like they haven't turned smooth yet. The seat is just about as uncomfortable as you can get. I will definitely be replacing the seat. It's not super high on my priority because I rarely actually sit when I'm biking. These, I don't know if there's any kind of glue that can go on that, but they pop off constantly. Apart from that, the bike is actually really enjoyable. It's a very soft ride. I mean, obviously you've got the big tires, you've got the super soft suspension. It's gonna be a nice ride. Very easy to drive in sand and mud, but you know, you shift up a gear and you can really get going. You can get some decent speed. I hit 25 miles an hour on this thing. They sent me 2 sets of pedals. I don't know if that was a mistake. The pedals are kind of interesting because they basically bolt in. I was worried that they were gonna thread out as I was riding it, but they haven't. So I'm curious what I should do next with this bike, because obviously this is a bike that needs to be built. This is just a basic frame. I can take it out and drive it as is, but it's begging to be built. The actual frame of the bike is quite nice. The welds are shockingly good. There were a couple reviews that were complaining about the welds. I have no complaints with the welds. They're very nice looking. They seem to go all the way through. I haven't noticed, and I do have a welding 1 certification. You know, that doesn't mean much. That just means stick welding and that's it. But the welds are not bad. The kickstand was a little weird. It's almost like it's in the wrong position in the bike. I had to actually grab it and sort of bend it so that the bike would stand upright. But I'm curious what I should do next with this. Should I change out the cassettes and make it like a really fancy, actually decent bike with all gears? Should I remove all the tires and make it, well, not remove the tires, but remove the current tires and put on those electric motor tires, make it an electric bike, an electric fat bike? Pretty much everything I have to say. Again, if you're looking for a bit of a project, I definitely recommend this bike. It's fantastic to start off with, and it does function out of the box, albeit with some issues. I did have to readjust the brakes because the brake lines had so much slack on it that I could pretty much completely close the brake levers, and it wasn't engaging the brake 100%. So I definitely had to take some slack out of the cable brake lines.
Do I hear an alligator?